Welcome to this week's Talk of the Monarchy. I'm your host, Ryan Nicholls, and I am excited to announce our second guest to the podcast. We have Golden Valley CrossFit affiliate owner, head coach, and all-round nice guy, Ed Lucas. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hello. Thank you, Ryan.
No, mate, thank you. You were one of the people who I was keen as mustard to speak to immediately. Very, very similar to actually me and Ryan, if you were going to almost like combine us.
Right.
So yeah, well, I'll tell you why. Like, you've got a real personable nature, which Ryan doesn't have, but you have that eye for like things have to be like right. Does that make sense? Which you and Ryan definitely have in common. So me and him together, we do make a pretty good team, even though we argue every now and again. But yeah, so I was keen to get you on.
That's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
No, mate, and I'm sure people are going to get to know you through this episode. So Ed, I'm going to get stuck straight in. Talk to us a little bit. I almost think CV overview.
Okay.
About your sporting background, maybe how that maybe led you to trying CrossFit, how you heard of CrossFit. We obviously know that you got hooked by it at some stage, opened your own place, which is amazing. But yeah, just start us with sort of sport as a kid, maybe some icons, that type of thing, and then just a little bit of an overview. Imagine we're in a job interview and I'm saying, talk to me about your sporting background.
Okay, so I guess to take it all the way back, I've been really, really lucky that thanks to my dad, my family life growing up, I lived all over Europe.
Yeah.
So grew up predominantly in England, predominantly in Southwest England, but also had some stints in Norway and have spent a bit of time in Brussels as well. So
Amazing.
The opportunities for taking part in different sports were like huge.
Yeah.
And super lucky that in the UK that meant, you know, being able to play rugby, play football. I used to swim competitively in my teens as well. So a little bit of everything. And then while we were living in Norway, I could ski, I could snowboard, I could play ice hockey, I could like all the winter sports were available to you. Yeah. Got deep into rollerblading in the summers. So like that was always really fun and always led to some interesting kind of like back and forth with people who rode skateboards as to which was better.
With the rollerblading, are we talking like ramps and stuff? Or are we talking like roller hockey or all of it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
nice.
of it. And like what was really big when I was living in Norway was people would go to like parks, like flat spaces, and they would just practice like slalom in and out of like Coke bottles and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's going a long way back now to when I was like 7 or 8 years old. And then Brussels was when I was in my late teens and I was deep into rugby at that point. So that basically took over my life.
What positions did you play?
I spent most of my time in the front row playing hooker or tight head prop. So my neck and shoulders have been through the ringer for the years. Yeah, the ears. Although if you look at me dead on, like one of them is more out than the other.
Yeah, it's this one.
Yeah. So I haven't come out completely unscathed. So yeah, mostly rugby. Played rugby at university in South Wales as well, which was great. Really good opportunity. Love it. Yeah, absolutely love it.
Some of those Valley lads are huge.
Yeah. Big boys don't love the English. Hurt my neck playing rugby. And that's kind of how I sort of segued into CrossFit. So I did my first ever class, actually. It was preparation for our varsity match while I was in my third year at university, CrossFit SA1 under Lee Bevan. And that was really cool. Loved it, but sort of didn't come back to it for another couple of years, I don't think. This would have been in 2014, I believe, late 2014.
Okay. So that's a while. I know that's obviously a big gap between maybe your first and second session, but yeah, you got stuck in a while. Is that gym still open?
That's still open. Yeah.
Still owned by the same guy?
Yeah.
I love that.
So sorry, that would have been in 2013, actually. When I took my first class, like when I became a card carrying affiliate member was 2014. And I'd been sort of out of training, out of exercising with this injury for a year and a half. Really despondent, like didn't think I'd be able to do most forms of training. Like the nerve, I had like, what's the right word for it? Wasting or like atrophy of my tricep muscle and of all the muscles basically connected to my C5 and C6 nerve in my neck.
Wow.
So I couldn't like lift, I couldn't do loads of other stuff. And then my pal Jordan, do you know Jordan Gill, guy who owns Atlas?
Yes.
So I used to work with him at Dyson. He was like, you should go to CrossFit. They could totally scale around that.
I love that.
I did.
Shout out to George.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Shout out CrossFit.
Yeah.
Scaling.
Yes.
All great things.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah, that's what led me to my first.
So you were carrying an
experience.
injury at the time. Thank God for the scales and coaches that have got knowledge of these scales, so you could get stuck in. And obviously, you felt like you got a good enough of a workout. How long before you were fully fit, if that makes sense? How long before you were like, right, I can chuck myself into a class 100%, say from
With no adaptations or with minimal adaptations.
Yeah. So in terms of, you know, maybe I'm sort of thinking, did a combination of your rehab and then keeping working in a CrossFit class, how long before that got you to a fully fit status?
I would say because there were two obstacles I had to overcome. One, I was really deconditioned.
Yep.
2 was the injury. I think it probably took me 3 or 4 months to get to the point where I didn't have to make significant adaptations based on just being out of shape.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking. And then it was probably another 3 or 4 on top of that before I didn't have to alter range of motion on certain movements to work around my shoulder and my neck.
Okay.
And it just sort of clicked one day. I was like, wow, I don't need to, like when I'm locking out a overhead press, one arm's not going before the other anymore and all that kind of thing. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Really
okay.
cool.
Awesome. Well, you've mentioned 2 things. You mentioned university and you mentioned Dyson. And they're here are my questions. I've done a little bit of homework on Ed. So before you've opened your own place, before Golden Valley and what it is today, you had a stint at Dyson and you had a stint at Nationwide. What did that chapter in your life look like? So it sounds like these are 2 big companies. They're local companies to us here in Wiltshire. What did life look like whilst you were navigating those roles, or the time between those roles?
What's the right word? Non-linear.
Okay, I like it.
It's a bit of a I'm from Malmesbury originally. It's a bit of a Malmesbury rite of passage to go away to university, come back and get a job at Dyson because you're not really sure what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I got a job specifically in their call center. And then the idea there is that you get like experience of like the different products that they offer and that type of stuff. And then you can use that experience to go and get a job in perhaps another area of the business that, doesn't have quite such stringent adherence metrics and all the other stuff you'd associate with
Dyson's a cool place to work, right?
Yeah,
I've got
for sure.
My very close friend, or one of my best friends' wives, still works there now. Another really good friend of mine, her husband's worked there for a long time, and I think, and I'm doing this no justice for his department because I wish I could tell you exactly what it is, but I believe he works in some type of department that just makes cool stuff that might never come to market.
Yeah.
So
that does exist.
Yeah, okay, fine. I'm sure. I mean, he's got amazing skills, and I won't name drop him just in case. He's like, I could be involved in 100 projects, and one might make it past like an R&D stage. And he goes, and even then, it might not ever come to market. But it sounds like it's quite fun.
Yeah, it's a cool place to work. There's cool stuff going on, and like even for example, if the part I was playing in that cool stuff was minuscule, like it felt cool to be part of the next big vacuum cleaner release or whatever it might be.
I'm here for it.
So I probably in the 4 years I worked for Dyson, I probably had 5 or 6 different jobs.
Cool. Was that
so,
just finding your feet, or were they open? Are they open about like, we see all the work you're doing here, let's see if it transfers? Or was it you saying, I've done all I really want to do, and you're allowed to transfer?
Probably a combination.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's quite forward thinking.
Yeah.
If we go back to that time, you see it more now with organizations where they might identify someone's skill set or interest, and or they value as an employee and would rather you didn't disappear to a competitor in a more appealing role. But that's quite forward thinking from those guys.
Because we're talking like 2016, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah. 10 years plus. That's not bad.
Yeah, it was cool. And then in the area of Dyson that I worked in, my last role there, which was working in like e-commerce, digital content type stuff, managing app content, website, etc. There was a running joke among me and my friends that if you tried your best, if you worked really, really hard, you'd get a job at Nationwide.
Oh,
because they have like great, really good benefits, and all that type of stuff. So that's a bit tongue in cheek, but I get you. It was a good move for me, and it was just before lockdown, so got in there for a couple of years and Did much the same stuff, like worked on website, app pages, all that type of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I enjoyed elements of all of those jobs, and I like working with people. But that type of job, that type of employment doesn't really suit me.
When I was going to say, now you've done a bit of everything. We've done university, we've done a couple of corporate roles, and now you're your own boss in your own space, your own gym. And we'll touch on how that sort of changed from the minute you had Golden Valley to where it is today. But could you see yourself in any world ever going back to
being
Nationwide, or a Dyson or something along those lines?
Never say never.
Hmm.
I think so. But it would just be like, it'd have to be such a different type of work to what I was doing before to actually keep me engaged.
Yeah.
I've probably realized more than ever that when I look at my two corporate jobs, when I look at university and when I look at school prior to that, that I didn't really fit the conventional like education, like that kind of doesn't really work for me. What I now realize is probably some kind of attention deficit disorder.
Yeah.
Like, didn't make me very well suited to
Yeah.
like classroom education, traditional classroom education.
Sure.
Or those sorts of corporate jobs or university or anything. So if I could find a way to scratch the itch that affiliate ownership does, in the sense that it gives me lots of different things to do, people to work with and all that type of thing, then yeah, I don't see why not, but no plans.
Yeah, sure.
Such.
Yeah, that's good. Is there or was there a time? Do you sit down with friends or your partner and be like, this was the moment at Nationwide where I knew I was done? Is there a day? Is there a backstory to it, or was it like a combination of this isn't for me over a prolonged period of time where you've just gone, nah, it's just another little nick that's made it the time to jump ship?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you
the little cuts?
I couldn't tell you exactly what the day was, but yeah, it was a death by 1,000 cuts. And there were days where it was because I worked from home throughout the coronavirus pandemic, and just like.
Were you not furloughed?
No.
Were you not?
No, because we could do 100% of our
yeah, that's fair.
And actually, if you look at online banking and that type of stuff, it's a pretty essential service.
It probably pushed anyone that was sat on the fence, didn't like the idea of change, maybe some of the older generation who just like the traditional way to bank, it probably pushed all them over to that the digital nudge they needed.
Yeah. And also we did a lot of like customer service style content for the website. So like self-helpy type, self-help's the wrong word, but like self-resolution journeys for like how you can fix your vacuum cleaner previously and then banking app and that type of stuff. But yeah, am I allowed to swear?
Of course, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Go nuts.
I just remember sitting and looking at my laptop screen on a couple of occasions going.
I've had those jobs, bro.
Yeah.
I was talking to my girlfriend and like, back in June, we spoke in our gym and it was celebrating men's mental health. And one of the things I said that I've always struggled with is a little bit of imposter syndrome. And I've delved into that loads from June to now, completely understand it.
Specific to affiliate ownership or
in general,
right.
Throughout all roles. I suppose I've always felt like I'm blagging it. And then I suppose played into the character of someone who's blagging it. And then you start to believe it.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. But with that, the reality is there's been a huge scope of change if I look at a 10-year window, some of it at a ridiculous pace. So it's pushing me out of my comfort zone and it's pushing me into things that I've never done before. So of course I feel like an imposter, right? But one thing that I was reading James Smith's book on holiday recently, How to Be Confident. And it's really good. And I advise anyone to read it. And there's one part in there where he says, we're all imposters when we do something for the first time. So a brand new father and mother are imposters as parents, etc. But the one thing that it sort of resonated with me, and he's like, it's growth. And one thing that my girlfriend said to me, and she's like, you couldn't have blagged it and been as successful as you have been in certain roles, and people want you in their teams and promotions and etc.
The limit.
There's a limit. You might have been a little bit of a blagger and you got this role, but there's no way you could have done that over a period of 10, 15 years, if not longer. Sort of reflecting on that has been quite positive, but for a while it really bothered me. And it took me a little bit of like diving diving into it.
Yeah.
But apologies.
No.
Where were we with that?
My best mate's dad once said to him, which he then passed on to me when we were having a similar conversation about employment, promotion, and all that type of stuff. He said to him, getting a new job or getting a job is just, or being promoted throughout your life or whatever it is, it's just a series of getting in over your head until you figure it out.
Yeah, love that.
And it's always kind of stuck with me.
And I've read things, right? If you get an opportunity, take it and work it out. And I know where I was going with that. You mentioned looking at your laptop screen and thinking, 100%. I worked in recruitment, and it was part of the conversation I said I was having with my missus. And she said, would you go back to it? And I said, absolutely not. You couldn't pay me to. And I've had friends in recruitment say, let's set something up together. Come work for me. Do this department. I'll give you some of the company. And I've gone, no.
Yeah, because if you tried to sell me on a job, I'd probably take it.
But what it taught me, I would never not have done it. I remember being in and I won't mention the company name, they're still going, they're really successful, but I remember being sat there, and I'd been in this job for maybe 6 weeks. And at the time, you were a resourcer. You made all the calls for the people that knew how to do the job, and that was the way in which you cut your teeth. And I'd picked the phone up, and I'd done a really weak sales pitch, and they've gone, not today, and I've gone, okay. And I'd put the phone down, and the director has walked past or stood behind me, and he's just gone, everybody put your phones down. There's like 50 people in this office. Everyone starts slowly putting their phones down. People are in the middle of taking on vacancies, job offers. Like, there's some, everyone put the phones down. And he's just like, do that call again. Same person. Call again. And yeah, I was not allowed to take no for an answer. I wasn't allowed to get some kind of forward action from that call. That it was embarrassing enough that I'm making a phone call, and I'm trying to be quiet anyway in front of everyone. But it just like drilled into me that I've got to do something that's awkward. I may as well do it right and potentially get a result off the back of it. Because if I do this half-assed call, hello, here's our jobs for my you're not going to get anything, and you've still got to do the painful bit. So
what's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst that can happen? And in James Smith's book, he says when he's taking on people, and it's not just PT clients, he works with them maybe on a like mentorship program. He makes them go into their favorite coffee shop and ask for a discount. Rough one. And he's like, they know the person. They see them every day. They don't need a discount. And he makes them ask for a discount because he's like, what's the worst that can happen? They get a discount. He said, or you don't get a discount. It doesn't matter. It's not about the discount. It's about putting someone in a really uncomfortable situation, but realizing the outcome of it.
It's not that bad.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
What's your favorite coffee shop?
Here? Coffee on the corner.
Nice.
Yeah. They do really good coffee.
Little shout out.
Yeah, coffee on the corner. Boom. Really good coffee. Their cakes are amazing. And the owners, Million Mark, they're just a really nice couple. Similar age-ish. I'm a tiny bit older. But similar age-ish. Really, really nice. But yeah, coffee's great. Yeah, coffee's great. What about you?
Rough Hands.
Nice.
Yeah. Rough Hands because Sam's my guy.
Yeah.
They're the local spot. But then throughout my life, a spot that I've always been going back to is Full Court Press in Bristol.
Oh, nice.
Really like it there.
Rough Hands. They were at Lily of the Valley.
Yeah.
They do good coffee. So we've touched on Dyson. We've touched on Nationwide. What would you say in terms of skill set that you've taken from that corporate life has helped you in the affiliate life?
An obvious one would be learn how to build a website.
Of course.
And I guess how to write for the web, like write in a way that's easy to understand and helps you reach helps the
client
consumer reach the right endpoint for what they're trying to get to, and sort out the hierarchies and everything. So always being rerouted back to the right place is really boring.
Yeah. It's really important.
It is important. Yeah. Although, I don't know, do you get a lot of traffic through your web?
I would say we get more now through our social media accounts. Verity's looked after. We've had a few people look after our social media. When we first opened, you're obviously wearing many hats, as you know the drill. So me and Ryan have always worked full-time jobs as well. So sometimes one of us would take it on, and then your job's busy, it's really difficult to do. And then we'd given it to some sort of trusted members who maybe were in that field a little bit. And then I would say about a year ago, Verity sort of took it on sort of full time.
Is it going well?
Yeah, it's going great. She's just on it, and she's got really comfortable, you know, with scheduling posts, what types of content when, and things like that. I'm probably the worst at it because I get excited about an idea and I just want to share it, and they're like, "We'll share that tomorrow."
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
"But I want to go now."
3 times today. We don't need to do this again.
So I'm the worst at it because, yeah, like an excitable puppy. So yeah, I have access to it. I don't check it out too much. I'm doing a little bit on the Talk of the Monarchy one now. But yeah, we just leave it. We just leave that side to Verity. But yeah, most of our traffic for our socials, we do and have done some ads on Facebook, Meta ads. Sometimes it's great. Other times not so much. Sometimes it's like, that was definitely worth what we paid. Other times it's like, that was not.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you done paid ads before? Or?
Once.
Okay.
It was really successful, so should probably do it again.
I was gonna say, why only once?
It was very recent, actually.
Okay.
But, like, all the advertising really that we have ever done has been social media or word of mouth. And there are reasons why that's great. There are reasons why that's not great. But like, yeah, the one time we have actually tried doing paid advertising, it's been really good. So
Yeah.
we're going to get that off the ground again soon, but just sort of choosing the right time.
Yeah.
Our social media approach, our marketing approach is really, really simple. It's just, and it's changed recently. We used to do a lot of like videos of me talking about fitness and trying to be the educator, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but actually someone helped me realize that I was stepping over pound coins to pick up pennies by not just recording people doing CrossFit and sharing that. Because it's like, if people, like, ultimately, well, you want to show what's happening in the gym, don't you? And people are always psyched to see themselves work out.
Yeah.
That's great.
Agreed. Everyone likes to see where they are on the reel that you've done for that day.
And if people, from an outside perspective, see people like them, for example, similar age, whatever it might be.
Yeah, sex, size, whatever it might be. Yeah. Busy mum
level, or something like that.
Exactly.
Then that could be really powerful. But it's had a bit of a change in direction recently, where it's just like, here is the fitness that's happening here. Not so much here is me talking about the fitness.
What started that change? Was it a member? Was it the missus? Was it a webinar, seminar, or something you watched? Or because I do like the educator hat, and I do think there is a place for it. Obviously, I don't think every post should be, you know, I'm wise, listen to what I say about fitness, but I do think there's certainly a place for it to look like the expert. Does that make sense?
Well, I guess you have to be an expert to be able to do what we do, don't you?
Definitely. But for someone who doesn't know what you do, to look like a trusted expert isn't a bad thing.
No, not at all.
So,
how many people do you think actually care about whether or not you're a trusted expert, and how many people like don't give a toss about the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum and actually just want to work out?
Yeah. So it's a great question back. I think people who are experienced, so experienced trainers, athletes, sportsmen, would care about listening to someone who knows what they're talking about, especially with the amount of BS which is on social media, and people just peddling their own agendas, trying to direct you towards a diet plan or a skinny tea or some, you know, utter nonsense. So there's definitely a portion of people who I think would see someone in shape talking about how they got into shape and how their members are in shape or in fit or in fit. So I think there is a block that would like that. Equally, there's some people who are like, I know there's a WOD. I don't really care about the points of performance. I just like the bit at the end where I beat my mate.
I just want to get sweaty.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick up my keys.
Yeah, we have in fact, we have a lot of members who are like that. They probably don't realize how much science and how much expertise goes into CrossFit. Or care. Yeah, absolutely not.
And that's fine.
Yeah, and that is absolutely fine. They turn up, they get to lift something heavy maybe at the start for 30 minutes and maybe get a PB. That's cool. And then they get a sweaty bit at the end where they get to beat a time or beat a scale or do it RX or something along those lines. And I genuinely got friends who can't wait till about 9 o'clock when everyone's put their scores in just to see whether they beat their mate for the day. Also, that's cool, man.
Also fine.
Yeah.
In the Venn diagram of reasons for wanting to do it, there are many, right?
Yeah, mate, this is very true.
We digress.
Yeah, no, but that's fine. That's what it's about. So we mentioned, or I asked you what parts of the corporate world made being a Golden Valley CrossFit owner easier.
Yeah.
Are there any parts of being in that corporate world that made it harder? Like, was it hard to go from, like, I suppose, lots of structure and a plan and blah, 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 and then go into an affiliate where, let's be honest, bro, they can be chaotic.
Yeah. Yes, in the sense that working for massive organizations, there's a team for every purpose.
Yeah.
And when you become the team for every purpose, you don't like, I've never done a budget before.
Yeah.
I've never done like payroll or anything like that before. Like there were all these new things that I had absolutely zero experience of. It's like I knew CrossFit. I probably didn't know it as well as I thought I did at the time. And I knew like how to build a passable website. I knew how to post on Instagram and that kind of thing. I'd worked with people, so I knew how to have a conversation and tell people how psyched I was about working out.
Yeah.
But like the administrative side, the business side of it,
Back end stuff
has been a real steep learning curve for me.
So you mentioned not a budget, and that's going to kind of take me on to a few questions later, but we're going to jump straight there. So I'm right in thinking you purchased Golden Valley from a friend, someone you know?
A guy named Rob Fisher.
Awesome. So with that, how did you make that decision? Because one of the things me and Ryan laugh about is our business plan. It's on an Excel spreadsheet. Ryan's a whiz on Excel, so it looks great. The numbers are hilarious. And I'll run you through some
income, really low costs.
I'm a millionaire and this is for free. But yeah, so how did it come about then? So you purchased it from Rob. Did he approach you? Did you approach him? And then did you go through the books? Did you just want to do it so badly that it was worth the punt? Who was your mentor at the time? Who did you lean on? As you mentioned, I think this is the first business you've owned. Yeah, how did you get to it?
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, go on.
So in that time period we discussed a moment ago, where I'm staring at my laptop screen and going, "Fuck this." I'm living with Claire, my partner. She says to me, "Well, what do you want to do? What's the dream?" I said, "Open a CrossFit gym." And she said, "Why don't you just figure out how much it would cost?" So she said, "Put a spreadsheet together, find out, like go online and figure out how much you'd need to spend on equipment, figure out how much it would how much it would cost to rent a reasonable space, how much does affiliation cost, blah, blah, blah." So I call up Rob, who I'd trained, it used to be CrossFit Akela, the gym that I went on to take over. I'd trained there for a few months in, let me get this right, late 2018, early 2019. And I just called him up and said,
"How did you end up out that way?"
Well, I lived in Malmesbury.
Okay.
And there weren't like, there basically your options when you live in Malmesbury are Swindon, Chippenham, Chalford, and they were all equidistant.
Fine.
And I had trained at the boxing. I hadn't yet trained at SW1 at that point.
Yeah.
But I'd been to Swindon, and I just wanted to try something different, I guess.
Yeah, why not?
And so I just called him up and said, "How much does your insurance cost you, so I can put it on this spreadsheet?" And he gave me a rough number. Thought nothing more of it. And then I think 4 or 5 months later, he called me up and he said, "Are you still interested in opening a gym? Because mine's for sale."
Nice. And the figures you had on your spreadsheet, I assume they were in and around the figures that Rob wanted for his space?
No. So it then became a bit more complex because I didn't have any capital, didn't have any, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to get I wouldn't be able to get investment from a bank to open a gym with no experience and no collateral or anything like that. So, I teamed up with my then business partner, Jack Barton. He and I used to train together at CrossFit Cirencester. And together we begged, borrowed and stole. We didn't steal anything.
No.
But we begged and borrowed enough money to go to Rob and his dad with an offer for all we bought from them was their equipment.
Yeah.
They surrendered the lease and we set up a new one.
Okay.
We didn't buy the client book. We didn't buy the business or anything like that. We just bought the kit.
Okay.
We were very lucky that 32 clients came with it of their own accord.
Yeah, that's good. Because I remember opening up Monarch and we did like an offer and we had some cool socials. We had some reels and bits and pieces. But when I think about it, none of the socials and none of those reels showed the members anything because in the 2 months we were running this campaign, we had nothing. We got the keys to our gym on the 4th of October and we opened on the 4th of November.
So what was in the reels?
Just people doing stuff and like funky things from like CapCut and like Canberra, and Rye's really good on this stuff. So they were around our logo,
so
they were around
graphics,
graphics, absolutely. And we had a list of like 100 and something of people who'd shown an interest. And then by the time we'd emailed them all with come on board before we open, here's an offer. I think we were really, really fortunate. Really, I remember being buzzing. But I think we opened the gym on the Saturday of the open weekend. And I think we might have, by the Sunday, had 50 or 60 sign up.
Easy.
Yeah. And I was so buzzed. And then there was remember telling a friend, when I get to 100, I'm gonna feel like this. And when I get to, and those numbers just go so quickly, because I thought about it not too long ago. I looked at the numbers on the membership base, and I was like, oh, I should have celebrated here and here and here. And as I said, I would, but you know what it's like. You're wearing a million and one different hats.
Yeah, you've got one thing to celebrate, but 10 things to clean up,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah, mate, that's it. Yeah, that's absolutely it.
Particularly in those early stages, what I found is that as we grew to 50 members, or as we grew to 100 members, or whatever it might be, because at that point our membership wasn't priced correctly.
Okay.
Actually, as the membership base was growing, the problems were growing too.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And what I mean by that is we had capacity issues, because in order to try and
I remember the space.
Yeah, it was a tiny gym, so of course we had capacity issues. But like, in order to generate more revenue, we had to get more people through the door.
Yeah.
But obviously, everybody wants to train at the same times of day, so you're just in this tricky catch-22 where you're not charging quite enough money for the business to actually work.
Yeah.
So you need more people, but you haven't got space for the more people, and whatever it might be. So, yeah, I guess now understanding better how to reverse engineer the pricing of the membership based on what you need, rather than what does X gym down the road charge.
And we all do it, right?
Yeah,
we do. We all do it. Like our pricing sort of changed from our opening pricing, and then our rent-free period, which we got a couple of months, which was great from the landlord, but that goes, and then you start eating into that pot, and then you've got to think, actually, I think I might have undercut it a bit. So then, we've had a couple of sort of pricing reviews. Nothing crazy. We've been at our current price for our unlimited for a while. Yeah, it's got tougher in the last year.
Everything costs more.
Yeah, everything costs more, mate, and it literally is everything. And it is tough, and it was one of those difficult ones to navigate. And I'm sure if you were underpriced, you've navigated a few price increases over the years. Before we get onto that sort of stuff,
this is quite commercially sensitive, so I'm not sure if it's necessarily the best thing to talk about on air.
Yeah, sure. Well, we won't go to the nuts and bolts of it, absolutely. But in terms of you're in a small space, you're obviously excited to be there. You've got a business partner.
Yeah.
You're trying to drive the membership numbers not through the roof, but drive them up so you can obviously flourish as a business and enjoy being a business owner. So apart from, or how did you navigate I've got to get the numbers up, but I can't fit any more people in? Were you having to be creative with class times, add class times, take class times away? What were you having to do?
More classes, programming that supported more people in the room. So with a 1,000 square foot room, which I guess to put that into perspective is, if you've got 20 people in there, each person has about the size of a yoga mat's worth of space. So we used to run classes of 10, and we'd do a lot of like A and Bs, where you do a bit of weightlifting up first, and then B would probably be a partner workout, or it'd be some kind of interval workout where like half the room's working, half the room's resting.
So did you and your partner do the programming, knowing that there was no point outsourcing it to someone else because they didn't understand the space?
Yeah. We did a bit of we outsourced programming in that space for different reasons a bit later on, and we just spent so much. Well, I spent so much time
editing.
But by the time it got to that point, it was just me. So I spent so much time adapting it that I might as well have just been writing it myself.
Yeah.
I remember looking at it and going like, fuck me, we've rode every day this week. I need to take this back in house.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's trying to be creative with the programming, which I think worked pretty well. We got the job done considering it was such a small room. Fitness happened.
Yeah, no, that's good. Cool. And that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And so how long were you in the space for that you originally took over?
Just shy of 3 years, I think.
Nice. And you mentioned you had a business partner.
Yeah.
So when it came to that, was that a decision that was, I suppose, one that just made sense for the business? Was it was it your business partner wanting out, or were you different workloads? How do you navigate that? I remember talking to an affiliate owner that we both know, and when I was talking about opening up Monarch, the first thing he said to me is, "Do you need to do it with someone else?" And I said, "Oh, why?"
Partnerships are.
Yeah, well, he said, everyone thinks you're a millionaire and you're not. they'll make enough money for one, was his honesty. And he said, and more importantly, you don't have someone maybe muddying the waters with a decision that doesn't necessarily come naturally or flow. There's been a couple of challenges.
It always will be.
Yeah.
If you could have a place that generated enough revenue, 3 would be great. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, is that Bath? Do Bath have 3 owners?
But I know they have more than I do.
Yeah.
But it's like, because then you've got like a committee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can have decisions made like that. But when it's 2, I think that's always going to be tricky. And I'm under no illusion either. Like, I'm a bad person to be in a business partnership with.
Well, why'd you say that?
I really like things my own way.
Yeah. Okay.
I probably I hyperfixate on stuff.
I suppose that's only bad though if there's another one of you.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a business partner who's like, well, I like someone to care, to maybe take the lead, or there's certain things that you gravitate towards where they naturally fit in your box that you like, and it's not, that box is not someone else's, then you have a pretty good partnership.
If you've got the complementary mix of skills and stuff. But I think where that was a bit different for Jack and I is that we were in exactly the same situation, and that both of us knew CrossFit. Yeah, we had different experience from our jobs, from our careers, but neither of us knew how to run a business. And so like it wasn't necessarily complementary. And you're right, I think neither of us wanted it to end, I don't think, but especially in the space that the gym was in before, it wasn't going to support 2 people full time. No. So it's what it is.
Do you remember when I spoke to you on the phone about Monarch?
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in Swindon and I pulled over into a lay-by somewhere in Swindon, and I remember talking to you on the phone minimum an hour. And the reason I spoke, and you might remember or you might not, but no one would answer my questions. So I know a few affiliate owners locally. I've trained at a few gyms, just like I know you've trained at a few gyms as well. But people who that they are my friends or certain acquaintances and a bit more. Does that make sense? But people I'd known for a really long time, and I was asking questions and I just wasn't getting any answers. I think I'd asked you something and you're like, mate, I've actually kind of gone through what you're just describing, where I couldn't really get any answers to questions, or someone might be open and honest, others were kept their cards super close to their chest. It was just to see whether you remember that time, and more importantly, and apart from, I felt like, because you'd gone through the same, but was there a reason why you were absolutely more than fine to say, yeah, ask me anything you like and I'll help you out?
There's without doubt a geographical component to it.
Of course.
You know,
yeah, we're not rivals, are we?
Gyms are like a solid hour's drive away from each other, so we're not fishing from the same pool.
Yeah. Which and I remember having a bit of a moan and you saying, to be fair though, Ryan, they are 15 miles away. These guys are...
if I was within a 10-mile radius, I think I would have probably had
been the same.
I would have tried to find out everything I could about what you were doing.
Yeah. And that's fair, mate. That is fair. Well, I'm glad for me and Ryan anyway that you were a good 30 miles or whatever it is away, because you were very open and honest, which meant from our point of view, we had lots of questions, and some of them were easy enough to get answers to, but others were a little harder. But yeah, I remember that. And do you know, one of the things that I remember is you saying everything's going to cost more than you've written down, and everything's going to take longer than you think you can do it.
Yeah. And you're going to make less money.
Yeah, and you're going to make less money. But mate, you weren't wrong.
Yeah, well, someone who acted as a bit of a mentor for me in the business planning stage, jokingly went away and he said, I'm going to write you a business plan, and wrote that in a Word doc on his laptop and handed it to me. I went,
but
actually it's so true.
Not a true word, right?
And if you filter every decision through that kind of prism, if you will, it's it never comes out wrong.
Yeah, no, I like it, mate. It was wise words, mate, to be honest with you. And like I said, me and Ryan have looked at our business plan, and one of the things we wrote on our business plan, bro, is hilarious.
Okay, yeah.
Mate, couldn't be more wrong. Couldn't be more wrong. There's like I'd say famous. It's famous to me, Ryan, and Verity, but there's a famous picture when we start of 5 tubs of black paint.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of Monarch.
Remind me how many it actually took?
Closer to 50. Our £500 budget for paint is more like £5,000 on paint. But I don't know in what world where we thought that these 5 tubs, this will do, on breeze block, just sucking it up. Honestly.
It just so strange.
Yeah, it was, mate. It was
What colour was it before?
like a yellowy, it was like a white that had gone yellow, as if like
Someone had been smoking those
smoking
fags
out
in
the
there.
back, out the back. It was the old Argos. You know what I mean? People going out for a crafty fag. 100% that was it. So yeah, there was, once you put some black splodges on the wall, there was no going back. I hate painting, and when we were doing the painting, it put a video up. Me and Ryan with a roller, him at the bottom, and me on some like scaffold tower going across the wall, and I posted it, and an ex-girlfriend had replied to it saying, "You hate painting." I put, it's the only thing we can do that isn't costing us money. And our paint budget, which was very, very low, I was like, it has to be something us guys take on. But we were, I mean, covered in paint non-stop, and it was about 30 days of painting. We were painting till 3 a.m, the morning that we opened. And we didn't have lights, so they'd shut the lights off and taken the lights down from Argos. So we actually
had torches.
So we had torches, head torches, and then Elliot Ray. Love Elliot. If you listen to this in Oz, El, love you. So El helped us out, did loads of work for us, and his dad's firm lent us some like temporary lights, which is fine until you then put lights on. And you've got strip lights and all the rest of them. So that was about a week before.
Okay, so that's when you had to do all the touching up.
Yeah, we looked around, we're like, oh my God, this wall that I thought I'd done that was mint.
Speckled.
Bro, it was awful. So yeah, we chucked a lot of paint on walls, and then even more once we actually had lighting in the space. Deck touched on it when I interviewed Deck a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, I'd been in the gym, but it was in the dark because you had no lights. But yeah, that was certainly interesting.
Yellow.
Yeah, I should have done.
You and I differ.
Yeah, I should have done. So you had Golden Valley that was purchased off Rob. You went in there with a business partner with James. After some time, Jack, sorry. And then you took a step away in terms of that was solely yours. And then 2 years ago, you moved to your new space.
A little under 2 years. It was May of last year that we moved. So yeah, about 18 months, I think it is.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been great.
So this is a really nice space.
Yeah, it's great. It's 3 times the size of what we had before. Massive, great big high ceiling. Great, like typical industrial estate unit that you would want to have a CrossFit.
Big roller shutter door. Nice high ceilings.
My one complaint actually about it is that the only windows, if you will, are like skylights, and they're kind of dirty. So like at this time of year when it's not like super warm and you don't want to have all the doors open and everything, it's a bit gloomy.
Can you get one of the like window cleaners with the big long brushes on there to maybe go?
Probably because you need a really long brush.
Yeah, well I think they can have. So he does all my windows, similar guy, but I think they'd get up on a ladder with one of those and just get all the moss and stuff off.
Okay.
Because you are right, in those spaces.
It can get a bit gloomy.
Yeah, of course it can, especially if you've got trees and, like you said, moss, leaves and that sort of stuff.
We're going to test out some lights, some proper lights in the next couple of days, I think. So we'll see if that makes a difference. But anyway, I digress. The new gym's great. It's like if you could have asked me what, like, to draw the space that I would want to put a CrossFit gym, it was like, it's got a little reception area. It's got a couple of little bathrooms, a little kitchen, nice big open space. It's great.
Yeah.
Got enough room for, typically we have 12 people in a class now, but we've had 20 people in there doing overhead lunges with a barbell at the same time.
Nice.
So that gives you an idea of kind of how much more room there is than one yoga mat per person.
How did you feel from like taking the keys from Rob and coming in on day one and being like, I've got a CrossFit gym? So then having the keys and opening the new Golden Valley where it's all you. So there's no Rob, there's no Jack, no one else's print on it apart from yours.
Yeah.
Was there a difference? Or both of those like individually, like if you think back, are you thinking, nah, when I had the keys.
I was just as psyched.
Yeah.
I was just as psyched about both. It's a very high level of psyched. So yeah, being part of the gym as a partnership and taking it over from somebody else. And now it's been Golden Valley CrossFit for longer than it was CrossFit Akela. And it's been Golden Valley CrossFit with just me running it for longer than it was anything else. But like the level of enjoyment and the level of fulfillment and happiness that it gives me hasn't changed. It's
nice.
Awesome throughout.
It's actually one of the questions that I got on one of the socials. I was going to save it for the end, but it's going to sort of nicely slot into this or this part of our conversation. The logo changed.
Yeah.
The logo changed. Was that before? Was that when you opened the new gym, or did it change before then? I can't remember.
Actually, that was kind of like probably within 2 or 3 months after I took sole ownership of the business, and I just wanted to sort of freshen things up a little bit, and I got a Canva subscription, and the rest is history.
Nice. So that's all you?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Were there?
I've had a little bit of help from other people who are much more in the know with things like graphics over the years, and one of the guys from the gym, Joel, is helping me out. Hi, Joel, if you're listening. Is helping me out with a couple of tweaks to the existing stuff to do some new hoodies, t-shirts, signage, all that kind of stuff. But otherwise, it's just been me.
Nice. And in terms of you took over Golden Valley, there was 30 members. You moved into the new space. How many members were on board when you moved into the new one?
I reckon 90, 95, awesome. Maybe.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that I'm really bad at, is tracking stuff.
Yeah, it's tough, and a lot changes, and you said it. You're wearing many hats. You can celebrate a win, a milestone, and it can be absolutely anything, and then someone breaks the chain on your assault bike. That happened today, by the way. And then now you've got to fix that. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it can be really difficult in the space to celebrate. Almost, there are lots of little wins, because as you know, in life, very rarely do you just get a nice, consistent rise of good things happening, right? So just with every extra member that comes through the door, or an event that goes really well, there's a piece of kit that needs replacing, or a dumbbell head snapped off, or something along this line. So it can be really tough, and it can be really difficult to enjoy those, I think, in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that, and also I think I'm really guilty of like, what the things that I do track are like, does this feel fun? Are people like, I track subjective metrics. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the vibe like in here versus like, how many members are there at this point of moving? And like, I don't know. That's like, again, not a very good businessman.
But who are you then self-reflecting on that? And they're going, oh, why am I even worrying about that? Or you sat at home talking to Claire, and she's going, yeah, no one cares about that. Or is she saying, well, look, there were 20 people on the class, and there was a wait list of 5. Like, did you know, who are you bouncing that off? Or is it mainly self-reflection?
Claire.
Nice.
A series of other people who I can chat to, about these things. They're relatively in the know. Some of whom the gym wouldn't be what it is today without, and probably wouldn't even be there without in some cases. So guys like Rob, Ash, and Les. So thank you to all 3 of you if any of you are listening. But the person I can always bounce ideas off, whether she's up for having an idea bounced off her or not, is Claire.
Nice.
And
that's really important though, bro.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Because I was actually talking to my dad about this earlier. Like, being a committee of one is really, really hard.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. One of which is you don't have a committee to sound ideas out with. And also, if something goes like, for better or worse, if things go bad, or like if something goes well or if something goes badly, it feels personal.
Yeah, of course. It feels hard. I don't know about you, and I know Ryan and Verity agree, but I could get 10 membership signups now, and one person will leave, and that person leaving sucks.
It's hard. It ruins your day.
It does ruin your day. However, so I come from a salesy related background, so it's almost like the rejection that you get in a sales job is high. It happens all the time. So it becomes like a numb feeling.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a lot easier to be like, oh, that's a shame. They were nice. For Ryan and Verity, they don't come from that background. They would really take it personally.
What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. And it would feel like that. And I've been in other gyms where I've seen that in other affiliate owners, where they're like, someone's handed in their 30 days notice and then they ignored them.
Yeah, maybe get a little frost.
Yeah, and I've never understood it. And I was like, oh, weirdo, blah, blah, blah. And there's lots of things I thought about affiliate owners. Was like, at the time, I'm like, yeah, that guy's a dick, blah, blah, blah. Now, me and Ryan have conversations, we're like, you're still a dick, but we get it, right?
Yeah.
But definitely for Ryan and Berry, I think that they struggled is the wrong word, but they definitely take
It's more of an adjustment.
for those guys.
Yeah.
But for me, and don't get me wrong, now it's, people come and go. It's never personal. They're busy. There's something else that, they bounce from one thing to the other. We always leave the door open. We've had loads of people leave and come back, and that's cool. But it can be difficult.
That was a piece of advice that I got from Kieran Baggs.
Oh no, he's coming on the show.
Is he?
Yeah, he's coming on the show.
Tell him I say hi.
Yeah, we'll do.
Because when Jack and I announced that we were going to open Golden Valley CrossFit, I was still training at Civitas. I gave notice, and actually, I didn't even know that you had to give notice. Yeah. I just tried to cancel my membership, and they were like, "We'll start your 30 days notice," and I was like, "Oh, that's the thing."
Yeah,
sweet. Okay, guess I'm training here for another 30 days. And in that time, I just went about my business as if everything was normal. And I remember Kia came up to me after a workout once and said, if I could tell you one thing, it would just be always leave the door open to people.
Yeah.
Treat
it's an amazing bit of advice.
Just as well when they leave as you do when they arrive.
Yeah. And that is one of the best bits of advice in any walk of life. And that's probably how Kieran has successfully transferred out of a CrossFit coach, 10, 12 years in the industry, into a corporate gig. Having that exact mentality that, all right, maybe I haven't won that deal, but it was really nice to meet you and spend some time on a tender, and maybe I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
And he'll go a long way in whatever he does with just sort of keeping that attitude. And we'll wrap up this episode just after my next question. How does the current Golden Valley, in its new guise, in its space, with a kit that you want, the design that what you want, you've just referred to, if I could draw a little box of what my gym would look like, it would be this. How does that represent you today? How does that reflect on you? If
the space,
the space, all of it,
it might be,
all of it, where your business is today. So like you said, it's been the current Golden Valley longer than it hasn't. And if now your imprint on the business is the biggest it's ever been today, without without anyone else's. So what does that look like? How does that feel? Tough question, I know.
It's a tough question, and there's a lot of sort of facets to it, I suppose. Very particular about where things go. I like it to be really orderly. I like it to be really clean. I like it to feel bright and airy. I like everybody to feel welcome and genuinely included.
Really important. What are your members like with that? Will your members? So I'll offer my bit in a minute. Will your members see a new person and be like, "Hey,
a lot of
in"?
Yeah. Cool. But I also think we're still talking about British people.
Yeah.
who will see a new person and go
pick up their phone.
They are a very, very welcoming group of people.
Yeah.
And so a bit of feedback that we always get from new people is how supported they feel, how welcome they feel, how, be it coaches, be it members, be it whatever. It's they're always it's really special. It's really great. And a lot of the time they say, I can't wait to come back.
I've come to your gym, I've put my trainers on, and one of your members has been like, "Is this your first class?" And I was like, "Yep, today it is." Yeah, so I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
And that's in the new space, and the new space is incredible. I've been to the old space. I remember me and Ryan doing a class with you. It was toes to bar and some
sandbag lunch
item that you had to lunch.
Yeah.
Me and Ryan drove home that day and were like, "Oh my God, that was a real rough one."
Coached by Hattie Fisher.
Yeah, it was Hattie.
Rob's sister.
Yeah, I remember you saying at the time. Yeah, she did a great job. She did a great job at the time. It was a tough class, one that we definitely enjoyed. We are going to wrap up episode 1 or part 1. So guys, tune in next Friday for episode 2. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
It's